If consciousness emerges from patterns of electrical activity in your brain and mine, as most materialists would assume, the sun has vastly more complex patterns of electrical activity than our brains. So why shouldn't that be associated with consciousness? Why shouldn't the sun have a mind?
It's equally possible that the relationship, and nothing in neuroscience rules it out, that the relationship is more like the relationship of the TV signal to the TV set. And in that case, when the TV set is broken, of course, the TV signal.
This perspective that consciousness exists beyond the brain as a fundamental force, fundamental reality, is not just some theoretical idea. Actually, all of our scientific advancements on the cutting edge of both neuroscience and quantum physics are pointing to this conclusion, that consciousness exists beyond the brain, beyond this human lifetime, and ultimately beyond this universe. The more that we learn about quantum physics, the more that we see that this is an inescapable conclusion.
Consciousness can enter quantum physics to collapse the possibilities into actuality only if, now listen to this, consciousness is transcendent, consciousness is unitive, one consciousness only, and consciousness is us. We are that consciousness. And this is a fairly spiritual view of the world. In other words, quantum physics enables us to see directly that we can make sense of the world only if we base the world on consciousness. Quantum physics makes this as clear as daylight.
If we understand this model of quantum physics, then it becomes apparent that we're not in the physical world. The physical world is in us. We create the physical world in when we perceive it, when we observe it. And when I say we, I don't mean the physical body or the brain, but that deeper domain of consciousness which conceives, governs, constructs, and actually becomes everything that we call physical reality.
And for me, there can't even have been an origin of the universe unless there was some consciousness there to perceive it coming into being. This is a lesson that all physicists eventually are coming to. Consciousness must enter into the field of physics in a direct way through something called the observer effect. You observe an atomic system, and the atomic system changes from a field of possibilities into something that's solid and physical and real and right there in front of your eyes. This is a fact of physics that we have to deal with. If the Big Bang occurred out of nothing, and produced a material universe, then there had to have been quantum mechanics operating at the moment of the Big Bang, and that means there had to have been an observer present, and this is where I bring in the whole question of the soul.
Now we've gotten to the heart of the matter. You've really laid it out very nicely. What is probably the major controversy, the major theoretical problem in science at the 20th century and the 21st century, right there.
The quantum soul. This may be scientifically feasible. Here's a picture of an out-of-body experience. I work in medicine and anesthesiology. We hear stories about this all the time. Statistical examinations of people having cardiac arrest show it's a real effect, and the near-death experience is something that really needs to be studied.
When somebody's gone through a cardiac arrest, when they've technically gone beyond the threshold of death, we have a situation where, whether we like it or not, the brain shuts down. So now you can study the mind, consciousness, the psyche, the soul, the self, whatever you want to call it, in a clinical context where the brain has been switched off. Now, of course, we would expect there to be no consciousness present when the brain has shut down. That would be common sense. However, over the last few decades, thousands, if not millions of people from all over the world have anecdotally reported being conscious, being aware, having memory, being able to see things, and recalling in precise detail what doctors and nurses were doing, conversations, clothing, etc., except they're recalling things from a period when their brain had flatlined, they had gone beyond the threshold of death.
I'd love to explore these near-death experiences in much more detail because there is a whole ocean of research and mind-blowingly incredible stories around this phenomenon, but I will say that for a future video. Suffice it to say here that a new scientific paradigm is emerging around the study of consciousness, where the essence of what we are is understood to be non-local, which means that consciousness is not contained in this body. It's beyond this human lifetime and ultimately beyond the physical universe altogether.
So we're recognizing that consciousness is the ground of being, and matter, mind, all these things are possibilities within consciousness.
And in this way, our most advanced sciences are just starting to catch up to what mystics and spiritually awakened beings have been teaching for thousands of years. The deeper that we delve into the mysteries of consciousness, the more that the line between science and spirituality will be blurred, which inescapably points us to a much more spiritual understanding of the universe, the cosmos, and existence itself.